Hi guys, I hope you're very well indeed. So I'm just trying to get my camera nice and steady. Welcome to the talk on, I'm just moving my things out of the way, the talk on breath. So this talk is based, there we go, move that out of the way. This talk is based on a book that I've been studying recently called Breathing Space, and it was written by Katrina Repka and the yoga guru Alan Finger. And it really fascinated me. There's another book out there called Boost Your Metabolism by Pam Grout. Pam Grout isn't, you know, like a health guru or a motivational trainer or anything like that. She's just a lady who writes. She writes mostly about garden things and space and travel and things like that. But she discovered the secret to breath as well. Often when people are coming to see me, and this is a common thing in life, I think it affects both men and women, but there's often a talk of disconnect with lovers, family, work colleagues. There's a disconnect, there's a void. That's a word that gets used a tremendous amount actually, that there seems to be a void that they're trying to fill. And don't get me wrong, these people are incredibly busy. Yeah, so the people I'm speaking to, it's not like they're sat there twiddling their thumbs. They have a tremendous amount to do. And yet they're still trying to connect. They're still trying to fill that void. And often people fill that void with things that don't serve them. Yeah. So they fill that void with food. They fill that void with a job they don't like. And they fill that void with unsatisfactory relationships. Now, often, and I've learnt this, it's not that maybe loved ones, you have an unsatisfactory relationship, it's just that you're not connecting. And often I think the reason you're not connecting with others is because you're not connecting with yourself, which is why your body will go back to its primal instincts for survival, which is food. Yeah. So it's just it's a very primal thing. Sex, food, you know, that's very primal, you know. So if you're losing a connection within yourself, the body will resort back to the very primal instincts that you've come from. So I've been speaking to a lot of people lately that talk about a disconnect with society, with people in their lives, with work colleagues, and this often starts people thinking about, you know, what do people think of me? Are they talking about me? Do they think I'm okay? Have I upset anyone? Have I offended anyone? They worry about what other people think of them because they're disconnected from them, and often the other people are disconnected from them. And so we're now living in a society where we're so connected. Look, I'm connected to you now on the internet, but we're so disconnected as well. Yeah, we've stopped talking to each other. I know that sometimes I'm a little bit much for some of my clients, you know. I get too involved, I probe a little bit too deep, but in order to help people, I have to feel connected to them, you know. So I just wanted to touch on this subject because I think it's really, really important. And often people think it's too simple, but it's not. We're going back to basics. So if you never buy a book again, I say this about every book I suggest, but if you never buy a book again, I want you to buy The Breathing Space by Katrina Repka and Alan Finger. Now, I feel a little bit guilty actually because I used to say that Alan Finger was like the Peter Stringfellow of yoga. He has long grey hair that he always plays with and everything, and he comes across as a, you know, a little bit touchy-feely, you know. And I used to, and I've read the book now, and he seems to be a really nice bloke, so I feel a little bit guilty, you know. I judged a little bit too quick there, which we all do, you know. But there's many things that connect us, and our breath is one of them. Yeah, so that our breath is one of the things that connects us to us. Now, the other reason that I wanted to talk about this is people talk about filling the void within themselves. They talk about feeling a disconnect with society, but I just want to throw something out there. How can you feel connected to anyone when you're disconnected to yourself? You know, when you first get together with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you know, your love's young dream, and it just feels so wonderful and gorgeous, and you just think this is happiness and this is amazing. But often people mirror each other. When you are attracted to someone, you are mirroring the other person, and so often that will be very attractive to you. The body goes, I recognise that. Yeah, you recognise yourself in the other person. Even though you might be completely different personality-wise, there will be something similar that will attract you to that person. And it sounds quite egotistical, doesn't it? And a bit narcissistic. But the body and the brain always looks for the familiar. And if it feels disconnected, it looks for connections. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, it'll look for connections. So the one thing that can connect our mind, our emotions, our psychology, our body, our spirit together is our breath. We can live a few weeks without food, a few days without water, but we can only live minutes without breathing. And for those of you that are working on computers all day, those of you that have very stressful jobs, you know, my nurses, my doctors and everything, you know that stress often makes the body shallow breathe, you know. So you're not getting those great intake, those big lungs filled with breath and oxygen. And we're often told that we only use a third of our lungs, which is terrible, isn't it? It's terrible that we only use a third of our lungs. Now, I put in the subject matter of this video, is breath the answer to all your questions, all your health issues? And I really want you to take away from this video some really practical tools that you can use to move you forward in your health goals. And this will mean, you know, removing addictions and emotional habits. This will mean, you know, moving forward, and it'll involve relaxation, energizing the body. You know, it will mean a lot of things. And I've got my little phone here because I've made some notes so that I know I've got everything that we need. So I'm just going to bring up some highlighted things here. So I was listening to Russell Brand. He's a lot to take sometimes, isn't he? But I was listening to Russell Brand, and he was saying how, have you ever been on the commute to work? There is a quietness of dread that many people have because they're going to maybe a job that they don't like. And what I always think of is, if you've ever been on the bus or you've ever been on a tube or a train, yeah, and everyone's sat there in silence heading to work, and a group of school kids get on the bus, the train or the tube on the way to school, and the energy they bring in, and they're laughing and they're joking, and you see like a few people, you know, rolling their eyes and things like that. But we lose that energy when we lose our breath, you know. So I'm just going to read out a few quotes here. Freeing the breath is the first step towards creating space in the body necessary to release your emotional and psychological obstacles, addictions, etc. Properly applied, the breath will help you regain the energy you had as a small child when time had no meaning and the future was an adventure. Yeah. You got to think how you were as a kid. You know, we ran, we had a great time, and now we've got more and more kids with mental health problems. And yeah, it's to do with food and additives and all kinds of things, and there's mental health issues that we didn't know about years ago. But we've also got a tremendous amount of kids that are not moving, they're not breathing deeply, they're sat down a lot of the time, and they're not connecting with themselves. To take control of your life, you must first take control of your breath. The breath affects every part of you, physical, mental, and even spiritual. Yeah, so when people think about meditating, they think, I can't do it. Anna, will you do me a recording and I'll listen to you guiding me? But really, meditation is very, very simple. You just close your eyes. You can do this with me now. You just close your eyes, and I want you to breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, breathing out. The first exercise in the book Breathing Space is 15 minutes every single day. You take a big deep breath and breathe out, and you just concentrate on the breath, and you notice where it hits the back of the throat or the nose, or where it goes. Does it go down into your chest? Can you feel your stomach rising? Can you feel your rib cage inflating? And you just focus on the breath, and that is a meditation in itself. That is the whole meditation. Now, if your mind wanders to Tesco's to do the shopping, or you think, oh, I've got to pick up the kids later, just bring it back to the breath again. Now, there's many things that happen when you do this, and it can be subtle changes. So when I do a relaxation in my yoga or Pilates classes, it is so common for ladies and gentlemen who are new to it to cry in the relaxation, and it's a release of tension, and sometimes they get embarrassed, and I say, don't be embarrassed, you're just releasing emotional tension. That's all you're doing, you're just releasing it. And so you may find that some emotions bubble up, but just carry on breathing, just carry on focusing on your breath. Yeah. So 15 minutes every day, lie down, go somewhere quiet, turn everything off, put the phone away, and for 15 minutes you're just breathing deeply, and you'll get that wave of oxygen. You will be completely zenned out by the end of it, but there will be other subtle changes. So for instance, Katrina Kepter said that when she suddenly, she used to beat herself up. If she went to a place and she ordered pizza, then she'd spend half an hour reprimanding herself for not being strong enough and too weak, and why did she eat pizza and all the rest of it. And I hear a lot of this as well. And she says when she started doing the 15 minutes every day, just concentrating on it, and she wasn't so great at it to begin with. At first, she'd do it for a couple of days, then she'd stop and start. But she says she noticed that she went out to eat with her boyfriend, and she ordered what she wanted, and she felt none of the same guilt, none of the same berating that she'd done before. And she said it was a subtle but significant change that she clocked. Yeah, we spend and waste a lot of our energy fighting with ourselves, don't we? Mental arguments, as I call them. How many of you have been on the train, tube, bus ride, car ride, home from work, and you have a mental argument with the fella or the wife, and you come in livid, and you look at them and you go, why you? And they go, what? I've only been sat here, what have I done? And you've had this mental argument, it's been fictitious in your head, I mean, I know I've done that. Are you all kind of thinking, I need medication now? No, but we spend a lot of wasted energy imagining scenarios, how this would go if we did something at work. Oh, could I have done that different? What do they think of me? There's a lot of wasted energy with that. And we want to still the mind. And we want to get rid of that. And one of the first exercises will do that. It will do that. So if you're clinging to emotions and can't let go, then your heart will close off. And this sends tension through the chest. And you literally don't have room to breathe. Disabling emotions that bind the heart and stifle proper breathing. Often this stems from maybe a grief. Or when I say grief, it might not be grief of a relationship or even a person that's passed on. It might be grief of not getting that job. It might be the grief of your kids growing up. It might be, grief comes in many forms. But what you'll find is the shoulders will come forward, and you know, people that are at desks often do that. And then you literally don't have space to breathe. And that doesn't just close down your physical self, it closes down your emotional self as well. So one of the tricks that Alan Finger suggests is to roll up a towel and to lie on the floor and just put it underneath the shoulder blades. And you can put like a little pillow underneath your head as well if you want to be comfy. But what will happen is you'll go like this when you're lying down, and the chest will expand. And then when you do your 15 minutes, you'll be able to really breathe into the chest and make a huge difference there. It's important to release old emotions wherever they come from. Now, with the idea of yoga, they don't really care where they come from. You know, they don't want to sit down there and talk about some terrible traumatic thing that you've done in the past. Your emotions are you. And if some of them aren't serving you, you need to release them. Yeah? So one of the ways of releasing is to sit up nice and tall. And you only have to think about this. And it'll seem odd at first, but you'll get the idea. You think about breathing in through the right nostril and breathing out through the left. And then in through the left. And out through the right. Now, you don't really see anything change for me. It'll feel weird, but you will feel it going over to one side and over to the other side. And to do several rounds of this, maybe, 30 breaths like this, is supposed to help release unwanted addictions, sugar cravings, everything. And the yogis really believe this, because what they're doing is you are reconnecting yourself to you. And when you reconnect yourself to you, then you're going to be able to reconnect to the ones around you, to colleagues, to loved ones, to partners, to lovers. You're going to be able to reconnect with those people again, and you won't feel so isolated. But you have to reconnect with yourself first. Now, I know many of you might be thinking, oh, I've only got to breathe a little bit and I'll get over emotional eating and drop a load of weight. Or, it sounds too good to be true, but I was speaking to one of the ladies on a video call today, and I said, the last thing I want is for you to be skinny and miserable, or even fat and miserable. Fat and miserable and skinny and miserable are the same thing. They're just miserable. And my whole aim with the program that I've got, Transform, is I want you to transform from the inside out. I want this to be a lasting transformation. Then the weight stays off. Then you feel happier. You are reconnected to yourself, and so then you are reconnected to your loved ones and society as well. So in order to fill that void, that emptiness, you must breathe into your core and the area around your navel, which will remove restless longings and renew your dedication to life and to yourself. I love that. I'm going to read that again. So in order to fill the emptiness or the void, you need to breathe into your core the area around your navel, which will remove restless longings and renew your dedication to life and yourself. So yogis really believe that the breath connects everything. It connects our soul, our being, our heart, our psychology, our emotion, our body. It connects everything. And I think it's true a lot. We have become disconnected because we're too busy. We're running around like busy fools, aren't we? We're busy fools filling every waking minute of every waking day. And we're very, very busy. But are we happy? Are we getting anything really done? Are we just on the treadmill? You know, people are looking for more out of life. And often people think, oh, well, I'll join Anna on this programme and I'll lose a bit of weight and I'll feel a bit better about myself. But I always say, in order to change the action, to change the results, you have to change the feeling first. You've got to change the feeling. And breathing and breath is such an easy way of doing that. And it's so simple, it costs you nothing. And you can do it anywhere. You could do it on the tube, you could do it in your bedroom, you can do it in the garden, you can do it anywhere. We just need you to reconnect with yourself and watch how your life changes. And people go, oh, it's too dramatic, Anna, it's just a bit of breathing. But I always say this, do it first and then tell me it doesn't work. Often we live each day as if it's our last. And I don't really want you to do that. And they bring up this subject matter in Breathing Space. And I don't want you to live every day as if it's your last, because that brings up feelings of regret and experience and heartache perhaps, and a grief for a time that's gone. I want you to live your life as if every day is your first, because that gives you a whole new perspective. It's a fresh start. There's adventure ahead of you. There's hope and excitement ahead of you rather than everything behind you. So live every day as if it's your first, not your last. So I would like you, I think you can get Breathing Space on Kindle for much cheapness, and you can buy it off Amazon as well. I want you to try, there's actually 12 different exercises to do that make a massive difference to you, your life. It'll reconnect you, it'll change the world, or your world. But the ones that I'm focusing on at the moment are the 15 minutes every day of deeply breathing out the same amount of breath in and the same amount of breath out, and the relaxation, and just focusing on the breath and just trying to get that focus in on the breath, and then watching how your day changes, your week changes, your relationships around you change, the relationships with food, etc. And then the other one is to breathe in through one nostril and out through the other. Obviously you'll have maybe another bit of air going in through the other nostril, but you're swapping over all the time. And this is supposed to help you rebalance, clear away negative energy, remove addictions, psychological obstacles, and the yogis have designed it, and they say it works very, very well. And the other thing that is probably the most common breath that you get in a yoga class, which they'll often talk about, is breathing deeply so that your stomach really moves up and down when you're breathing. So you're breathing very deeply past the diaphragm, past the rib cage, into the stomach, in order to rid yourself of restlessness, to rid the void, the emptiness that people talk to me about, which they then go hunting for food to fill. What it will be filled with is a sense of peace. And with me working with the brain working recursive therapy, the BWRT, the amount of people, when I go, oh, this is how you feel and you don't feel like that anymore, how would you prefer to feel? Everyone says to me, I just would like to feel peaceful and not care anymore and just have acceptance. And so it tells me that 90% of the people that I'm working with the BWRT, they want to feel peace. And you can feel peace simply by breathing deeply. So there's the 3 exercises that I'm going to give you. The first one, 15 minutes every day, just breathing in, breathing out, focusing on the breath, how it goes into the body, how it comes out. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to the breath again. The second one that you can try is sitting down somewhere quiet and trying to breathe in through one nostril and out through the other. Don't get too focused on it. You know, it takes a little bit of practice. But you'll feel the change as it goes over, because I remember thinking, how am I going to do this? But you do feel it. And then from the left to the right to the left, and you do maybe 30 breaths of this. And this is supposed to help release psychological blocks, addictions, things that you don't want. And then for people that are feeling like there's a void, a disconnect, an emptiness that they're trying to fill, this is where you need to breathe deeply into the stomach and really breathe deeply to get that sense of peace. And when you've got a sense of peace, you won't want a piece of cake. So I would really love to hear your feedback on this. This video is going out not only to my gorgeous ladies that are on my Transform course, but it's also going out to some people that might be seeing me for the first time. I'm Anna Ferguson. I'm a personal trainer and nutritionist who also deals with the psychological and emotional side of health. And if you're wanting to have a chat with me, or you would like to get to know me better and learn about what I do and maybe how I can help you move past your obstacles, what I will do is I will post the recording of this video, and I'll put a little link to my private diary. All I say to you is, if you want to speak to me, and I'll help you all I can, and I'll also tell you about my program and everything. But if you want to speak to me and you book into my private diary, what I want to say to you is, you can see I am a real person. So you're not booking into a computer and a real person will contact you. Me, I'll contact you. So if that's the case, I'd love to meet a few more of you. If I can help you, fabulous. If you'd like to join me and work with me, great. But there's never any pressure from me, because I always want you to make that decision. You've got to come forward and put the best foot forward if you really wanted to make a change. But for all my ladies out there that are on my Transform program, I'd really love you to do these exercises. For all of you that are in the Transform private group, give them a go. And everybody out there, buy the Breathing Space. I'm not on commission, I just think it's a great book. Breathing Space with Alan Finger and Katrina Repka. Have a look. It's an interesting read, it really is. So let's focus on our breath. Let's reconnect our emotional, psychological and physical body with our breath, and in turn reconnect with everybody else. I hope you're very well, and I can see that a few of you are watching, and thanks for watching, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Bye for now. Oh, I can't get out.